What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Across the Border. I'm Max. I'm here with Chris, and today we have a kind of special video for you guys, kind of like a more in-depth breakdown of a concept. So today we're going to talk about how, like, really breaking down how to get recruited to play college basketball.
Oh, it's like for like speaking better and shit?
No!
So why'd you say for the podcast?
Bacon's not real, and neither are now. No, bacon's not real, because if you go to a grocery store, there's too much bacon.
Keep working, your time will come.
It sounds like you're eating human bones.
It's a mini.
It sounds like you're eating hamster bones.
It might be stupid, but is India in the Middle East? I don't think so. Is it? A lot of people want to play college basketball, but not a lot of people kind of have the resources or like the knowledge.
The people around them, many things.
Like me, I'm a first generation college athlete. So is Chris.
Awesome.
Like nobody in my family, never mind played, but like knows anything about the process. So I kind of had to navigate it. I mean, my parents definitely helped me, but we kind of had to learn together.
Mm-hmm.
So this video is just kind of breaking down some stuff that could definitely help you. And hopefully you guys will go into your recruiting process with more knowledge than we did and make it easier for you guys. So the first thing we want to talk about is film. You want to start it off?
Sure. One of the biggest things that you need to keep in mind when you're putting together film is that you want to keep it short, but you also want to, off rip, show the coach what kind of player you are. So you want to take your best, most fundamental, I don't even know how to word it, but like your best attributes and put those in the front of your film so that those are the first things that he sees, and he knows right away that you're the type of player, like you're a shooter, you're a slasher, whatever, and he knows immediately after clicking onto your video that that's what kind of player he's getting when he's recruiting you.
So like for me, I'm a shooter, and so my highlight tape, I mean, obviously you don't want to just show like 3-pointer after 3-pointer after 3-pointer because it's going to get redundant, it's going to get bored, and the coach is not going to want to watch the whole thing. So you definitely have to sprinkle in like other, just to also show that you're versatile, because I can shoot the ball, and that's my best like attribute, but I also have other aspects to my game. But I'd say probably 70% of my clips were knocking down catch and shoot threes, off the dribble threes off ball screens, like different things just to showcase that, oh, if you watch it, I can shoot the ball. And that's what I was recruited for. Mm-hmm. So if you're athletic and you can dunk the ball, then just dunks. If you're going to block shots and get rebounds, maybe not so much rebounds, but maybe offensive rebound putbacks and block shots and just show early on, like establish who you are and what you're good at type thing. And for length, I would say 2.5 to 4 or 5 minutes. Definitely nothing more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, because
no one's watching that. I would say
I'd say 3 minutes is probably the sweet spot. That's probably where most people's highlight reels should lay.
3 minutes. Also, like 3 minutes of quality clips. Like you don't want to have. I'd say obviously put your best clips at the beginning. But by best clips, I don't mean like flashiest clips. I mean like best clips, like where you look the best, you move the best, where you're most confident in those clips.
Against the best competition. And then also save some clips to put at the end. You don't want to just have at the end like cherry pick fast break layups and kickouts for other people's threes and rebounds and like just stuff that's like, I mean, obviously important to the game, but doesn't really show what kind of
player you are, and so we're going to pique the interest of a coach. So you definitely want to have most of your good clips at the beginning. And I mean, if you don't have a ton of film and you do want to like kind of like make it longer, but I would say like put the clips of you scoring fast break layups and stuff like that in kind of like the
middle.
I'd say like the third quarter of the highlight tape for sure.
And no crazy music. Just honestly, I probably just put a beat behind it.
Yeah, I always just did like, I mean, I would pick like from songs that I like, but I would put the instrumental version.
That's
of
what
it.
That's exactly
just like a beat that's like up tempo that goes with the video, but that's not no words, because if you have with swear words, like you wanna, it's like, I mean, stereotypically show that the coach like you're a good kid because everyone's recruiting players. So you have with videos with songs with a ton of swear words, like coaches are gonna like just kind of, it's gonna rub them the wrong way,
and it's gonna probably distract from the film as well if there's a bunch of swear words that they don't want to hear.
Yeah, it's just gonna like, you just don't want to rub them the wrong way. You just want to be like clean, because you just want to have a kid. the coach just want to recruit the kid who has like no problems and just like, and obviously, oh shit, that's been waiting to come up holy shit, since we started. Obviously, like if you listen to rap music, obviously that doesn't mean like you're a bad kid, but you just want to kind of like eliminate all possibilities of preconceived notions in your email and in your film. So the next part that we want to talk about is like really honestly like the most important part.
Most definitely.
But definitely, so it's like sending out emails. So but don't even think about sending out emails if you don't have a highlight tape first. Like you don't, if you send an email without a highlight tape attached, you'll get 0% response rate. Like zero. You'll never
might get a response, but the response is going to be
send me your highlight tape. Like you're not going to get anywhere without a highlight tape.
Yeah.
So you definitely need to make a highlight tape first. Oh, also, you can make a highlight tape on, there's a bunch of different like tools and resources. So for me personally, all my games were recorded and either put on YouTube or on Huddle. Yeah. And so you can either make, or on Synergy, so you can use those Huddle Synergy to make highlight tapes. Or what I did, because I didn't know how to use that technology, I just like went through all my games and screen recorded the clips and then put them together in iMovie.
Yeah, I put them together in CapCut. That's exactly what I did.
Or CapCut. There's definitely a bunch of different templates that you can do. It's not one's better than the other, just what you think is the most easy for you. So I just screen recorded from Huddle where my games were recorded, or YouTube, and put them all on iMovie, which I thought was the easiest platform for me. But that being said, so emails. So how to find a coach's email. A lot of people don't know this. If you search up, so for example, we go to Medaille University. If you were interested in coming to play for Medaille University, you would search up Medaille University basketball roster. Then you, on the top right corner, there'll be a section that says more, usually with a plus. You would click that, and it would come up like roster, statistics, and you go down to coaches. And then once you go to coaches, it would show up the coach, the name, first name, last name, and email. So on your email, you would start off by, who it's to, email every single one of the coaches. If there's 10 coaches, email all 10, because that's a better chance that your email will be seen. Because chances are you're not going to communicate with the head coach right away.
Yeah.
So you want to, even if there's like student managers' emails, at those emails, because that's just more chance that you'll be able to be seen.
On top of that too, when it comes to writing an email, if you're going to reach out, I would definitely start by, there's many ways to go about it, but like keep it short, put your highlight reel at the bottom, and just tell him why you're interested in this program. Start with his name, like dear coach, whatever.
So what I would do is if there's, some schools only have the head coach and lead assistant email. So say dear, for example, us, the only coaches on the website are Coach Hack and Coach Long. So you do dear Coach Hack and Coach Long. But if there's multiple, you would say you would address the head coach and say and staff, because you don't want to say like 10 different coaches. So you'd say dear head coach, or like insert head coach name, and staff. And kind of like how I would structure it is probably like dear head coach and staff or whatever. Hi, my name is, whatever your name is. I attend what school you go to, and I'm interested in playing for your university or your institution. If you want to get a higher response rate, I would say like just kind of do a bit of research before you send the email, and say like something specific about the school, so the coach knows it's just not even if it is just a general, which mine 100% was. I had just a template that I would copy and paste and send, and it would just change the coaches' names and emails. But if you can add a little bit of something here and there that's unique to the school, then that would just another thing that can help get a response even more.
One of the things at NCSA too, I had a NCSA agent who would like help me write these emails, and he made the template for me. And I can't remember exactly, but there was at the bottom, there was like 3 things that he wanted me to list about myself. And the last one, he said, make it super creative so that if they see that, they'll remember you as like that kid. And mine was that I worked on a pig farm, which is like super random, but like they saw that and like they would respond. That was one of the first things they would say when they responded back was like, you were the kid with the pig farm or whatever. So like, if you want to throw something super original and creative at the bottom to make them remember you, that might not be a bad idea.
I'm actually about to try and find an email that I sent to a college coach.
I don't know. I highly doubt I can find that.
I'm about to try and find one right now. Well, you'll just talk about the next topic really quickly, or talk about NCSA, which is another thing that you use. I didn't have much experience
NCSA, if you're dead serious, like if you're, I don't care how old you are, but if you're really serious, you're 100% certain at whatever age you're at and you're ready to spend money on it, if you want to go play college basketball, that would be probably the first investment I would make in my basketball career, because you're going to get, depending on what package you buy, there's like bronze, silver, gold. And if you buy whatever package, you're going to get immediate access to an agent from there, probably an ex-college player. Like mine was a dude who played at Kentucky, I think, and he averaged 20 points a game or something. He was a great player. And
We'll blip that word out.
Huh?
Shout out Brad.
Shout out Brad. And yeah, he was crazy, and he was a big help. Probably, I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. He wrote the template. He was emailing me constantly, trying to get me to update my profile and put my GPA and all this stuff in there. And that is that would be my immediate.
You just look into NCSA or field levels, another one where it's just like. We'll talk about like
those are invaluable
connections
purchases.
in a minute.
Those are invaluable purchases you can make for your basketball career.
So I'll read my email that I sent to our coach, who is the coach of our basketball team now. So it said, "Dear Coach Hack, I just addressed him. I said, my name is Max Rolnick. I'm a class of 2022 guard who attends Andrews Osborne Academy in Willoughby, Ohio. I am writing to let you know that I am interested in attending and playing basketball for Medaille. I have a 4.06 junior year GPA, and I'm looking to play for your school as there's a strong business program, and I want to play a highly competitive college basketball. I was wondering what the initial steps in the recruiting process at your school would be and what positions you are looking to fill for your 2022 recruiting class. My high school coach is Rudy Kurbis. Feel free to reach out to Coach Kurbis if you have any additional questions about me as a potential college basketball player." And then I dropped his email, which because a lot of times coaches will reach out because they want to reach out to other coaches to see and get feedback and see if it's a player that they think is good enough to play college basketball, how they are as a student, how they are as a person, and stuff like that. And I said my highlight tape for my junior year and my first 5 games my senior year, because I sent this at during winter break, so we only played 5 games my senior year, are included below. I look forward to hearing back from you soon. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Max Rolnick. And then I sent my junior year highlight tape, and I sent the senior year first 5-game highlight tape. And also, if you can, request your unofficial transcripts to send that, because a lot of coaches would look for your they want a reference. A lot of them want a reference. So your coaches, they want a highlight tape, they want your transcripts, and depending on how far in the recruiting process you get, they'll ask for a full game film or a link to a live stream to one of your games. And so if you have all of those, make sure you have all of those available. So you have a full game film where you don't turn the ball over a lot, you are moving well, you're making good decisions, you're showcasing what you do. And then you have your highlight tape, which is like a bunch of stuff, games putting together your best clips, again, showcasing what you do. And then your transcripts to show that academically you got your shit together. You can get into the school academically, because the last thing a coach wants to do is have to chase a kid academically once they get here, because then they bring down the team GPA and they have their teachers.
They might be ineligible.
So it's a waste of a roster spot. And then they have like teachers coming and bitching at them, and that's just the last thing they want. They're also recruiting the person. So you definitely want to make sure that you take care of your academics as well.
That's a fact.
And so request your unofficial transcripts from your school. And then, that's how I started talking to Coach Hack, and we are here where we are now. And we'll have him on the podcast on Tuesday and whenever that will come out. So another thing is now you have an email, and you have you found the coach's email.
Your film.
You have film, you have full game film, you have a transcript. So now what schools do you email? Email schools that you're going to want to go to. But you can't be that picky. So it's kind of like...
Unless you're disgusting.
Yeah, unless you're fucking... But if you're that good, like Coach K will be in your living room if you're good enough to go to Duke. So, but chances are you're like us. You're not that... You're definitely not that good enough. So you got to if you know you want to go to school for business, email schools with business programs. If you know you want to go to school for biology, email schools with biology programs that you would be interested in going to academically. Because at the end of the day, the whole goal is to graduate with a 4-year degree and have basketball be your segue and your outlet in order to get there. So definitely email schools, but you also can't be that picky. So if you think you're a high-level Division III player, don't only email the best Division III schools in the country.
Spam emails. Maybe email some schools that you're good enough to play at and make an impact right away. Maybe lower-end schools that also have your program, just to build a foundation for your recruitment. Honestly, I would say don't be fucking picky at all. I would send 100,
especially at the beginning.
150, 200
I
emails.
think I spent 200 emails almost
Yeah,
I got maybe 50. I think I sent my ratio was 200 emails. Maybe I got 30, 35 responses. Maybe I got some serious consideration from 12 schools, and I took 4 visits, and I committed to 1 school.
I should send out 50, got 2 responses, and both were offers because it was so late in the recruitment process. So it's going to be a volume type of thing where I wouldn't be picky at all. I would email literally every single school you can get your hands on, and then at the worst case scenario, you'll end up with a bunch of offers from schools you're like, meh. And then if those schools that you really like don't get back to you, at least you have an
something.
option.
Exactly. At least you have something. Because also, like, the top schools, especially in Division 3 and all over the country, are picky. Like, they're recruiting for positions. So if they just graduated a guard, they're looking for one point guard.
Yeah.
Because they have a certain amount of, at every level, like, it's not like high school, you just keep trying out. Like, you're recruiting for fit, because at the end of the day, it's trying to win. So definitely email as much schools as you can. But also, I think another thing we kind of glanced over is, in your email, inquire about what they're looking for. Because if they're not looking for a guard, and then they're just like dragging on the recruiting process,
then, yeah, you just respectfully go your ways.
Because something that my high school coach, a piece of advice that was really, really important for me to learn, because is the second best thing a coach can say other than yes is no. Because you don't want someone to be bullshitting with you and like, we don't know, whatever, and then like you get your hopes up and then they end up like picking somewhere else, picking another kid, and now you have left with nothing. So if it's not a yes, let's get on a phone call and they're interested, the best second option is a no. And that can be tough to hear. Like, we don't, like, I've emailed a lot of schools, and some of them, like, we're just not looking for someone at your position, or even like, honestly, I've gotten some which is like, the type of guard we're looking for is a more athletic, but you don't fit that type of guard, so we'll keep you on our radar. And we'll let you know. But that's basically like a no. Like, you're not good enough. You're not athletic enough. And that's better, because you don't want to be like kind of like kept on the line.
You don't want to waste your time.
Of a school. You don't want to waste your time. You want to find someone that's going to want you, and because that's the end of the day. Like, you want to go somewhere that wants you.
Yeah.
And then we talked about building from the ground up and just emailing schools that maybe you think that you're too good for, but realistically you're not too good for anywhere.
Probably. Because
there's definitely going to be a kid in that conference that's better than you, and on that team that's better than you.
Yeah.
So, but definitely, like, email a bunch of schools. But yeah, make sure to have your program. And then, so now you emailed schools. Now you have film. You've sent out your emails. Once you start talking to coaches, let coaches know your schedule. So, for example, AAU, high school season. So what I did is once I started talking to coaches, I would send them my practice schedule in case, because a lot of coaches will also want to come to your practice. But like my game schedules, if you have games near them, let them know, send them your live stream links, just let them know so they can come and they can see you in person, because at the end of the day, like, film only goes so far. Like, they want to see how you interact because they can't see if you're a hothead in person, they can't see if you're a good teammate in person, if you hustle in person, they just see, for example, me hitting threes. So a lot of coaches are going to want to see that, so let them know your schedule. So then you can talk a little bit about like exposure and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess a lot of the kids watching this are probably from small towns, or there was a dude on TikTok who was commenting about how he's from Germany. He has no idea how to do this. You're gonna have to get out of your hometown and travel possibly very far distances. I was driving 2 hours back, 2 hours. I was driving 4 hours total, 5 times a week.
I moved 4.5 hours to Ohio to a prep school. Like, kids on my team were from Germany, were from Italy, who were looking for the same opportunities that I was.
You're gonna have to travel pretty far distances if you're not from an area that's known for very good basketball, and that might be something you have to contemplate if you're willing to do that just to go play college basketball. But you're gonna have to go to the place where the basketball is the best. Like, I traveled to Toronto back and forth a bunch of times because the basketball in my area was not at the level that I needed it to be, so I could get film. That's not even, honestly, traveling for film isn't the most important thing. The connections and the people you're going to surround yourself by getting out of your hometown, that's going to be the thing that's going to elevate your game to a completely different level. Like, the progress I made after 1 year of playing in Toronto was probably,
as opposed to like
5 years in the rural area I was. It was exponential, because in that 5 years that I was in that small town, I was guessing. I was training myself. I was trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work.
You're a big fish in a little pond.
Exactly. And when you travel to a program in Toronto and you have a coach and a trainer there that are specifically tailored for you and your needs as a player, they give you all the answers, and all you have to do is take them and start implementing them in-game, in practice, and you'll see immediate results because they have the answers. So that is going to be the biggest reason why you need to get out of your hometown, is that your growth is going to be exponential compared to if you were to stay there.
So some type of exposures, like obviously for high school season, like there's obviously high schools that have more exposure than others. So I went to a prep school in Ohio. I left my public school in a suburb of Toronto to go to because basketball wasn't taken as seriously and which wasn't at the level that I needed it to be in order to get recruited. But how did I do that? I didn't just like show up there. So as Chris talked about connections, so connections are the most important thing in life.
Yeah, probably.
More, like this is kind of like college basketball recruiting is kind of like small scale of like how life is, like how the job world is. It's just like you need to have connections. And so I did some research and I found somebody online who has a service where they have their business is literally like an agent for people that want to go to prep schools. Her name is Coach Mom. Shout out Coach Mom. And I definitely wouldn't be in the position I am
Mom, is it
without her.
M-O-M?
M-O-M.
Coach Mom,
She's a woman who's
You don't say.
whose son was in the same position as I was, who's somebody who wanted to play college basketball but had no resources, knew nobody. And so from her going through the recruiting process with her son and learning the ins and outs that I've now learned, that you've now learned, made a business out of helping other kids be that mom to help and build connections. So she has a ton of connections. And I reached out with her and I started talking to her and I built a relationship with somebody who has connections. And she sent out my film to a bunch of her connections. And I ended up talking to Coach Kirbis from Andrews Osborne Academy in Ohio. And he liked my game. He liked me as a person. I liked him. It was a good match. And I ended up going there. And it was the best decision I ever made, even though it was terrifying leaving home at 16, 17, like 2-3 years earlier than I would have. But, I mean, it was necessary. And I got infinitely better. And I was way more prepared to come into here than I would have been otherwise.
Yeah, that's definitely what I learned in NCSA, too, because my agent knew he played for a college, a high-level D1 college, and he just knew a bunch of coaches. And he said during one of our meetings, he was like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find 10 of your schools that you're most interested in, and I'm going to contact all of their coaches individually. And so, again, going back to NCSA, like, they're going to not only help you in the recruiting process, but they might even go out of their way to send emails vouching for you on behalf
like, you got it.
of them. So, like, that's another piece of the connection thing is, like, you're going to have other people sending out emails vouching for you, and it's just another layer of help in this journey to go play college basketball.
Like when you play for an AAU team, when you play for a high school team, make sure that they have connections, they know people, because that's like that's the biggest part. So and like as Chris said, like if there's no people who know connections, like get out of your hometown, go meet people, go explore, go like
get out of your comfort
zone and find people who can help you achieve the path that you're trying to go down. So then you can also play for, there's also like, so high school ball in the winter and AAU in the summer, but you want to make sure that the AAU events you're going to are exposure events during live periods, because a lot of coaches can't go and watch you during live periods, and I don't off the rip know when the live periods are. They change every year, but there's like there are around similar time frames of when college coaches can go and watch and be in the gym and communicate and interact and offer kids. So go and do your research and know when the live periods are, and then go find teams that are being active during those live periods and going out and playing in tournaments in front of coaches. That's also the best way. And then let the coaches know that you've been emailing with what live period events you're going to, so they can come and see you and they can meet you in person, and they can potentially offer you if they like what they see. And then another thing is just like recruiting camps. So I've talked about this before, but I went to the Yale Elite Camp, which is run by Yale. All the Ivy Leagues have elite camps where there's the Ivy League schools are there, and then a ton of high academic Division III schools come and like they run the camp. So like the coaches, my coach from one day was the coach of Kenyon College in Ohio, who I was talking to before. It was the first coach that was interested in me. And then my other coach the next day was a coach from Swarthmore, which is one of the top Division III schools in the country. And they were my coaches. And so you build a relationship with them. And then there's other coaches walking around. And it's just an overall atmosphere to get recruited. So you go, you bring your A game, you play in games, you play in drills. And there's just an atmosphere of people who are looking for players like you to watch. And so there's Yale has it, Brown has it, Princeton has it, Cornell has it, all of the Ivy League schools, but then also a ton of other Division I schools. Even Madai has it. If you're interested in coming and playing for Madai, Madai has a camp in the summer to come and play. I'm pretty sure like guys like Trevor, like Day even said, like Buffalo guys who are playing on the team now played in the Madai Elite Camp. So also if you're interested, go to the camps. Like there was a few schools during my summer going to my senior year that I was interested in, and I specifically went to their elite camps, and they were like, they weren't Division I schools, like they were Division III schools, but Division III schools have elite camps too, and I was interested in going there. And so it's obviously a smaller scale than it would be going to the Division I thing, so you have a better chance of getting noticed by that coach. And one of the camps, originally one of the schools I really wanted to go to was Brandeis University in Boston, so I went to their camp with my dad on like the kind of like the trip that we were going on of recruiting. And I played really, really, really well in front of the head coach, and I was invited to practice with the team after. And I practiced with the team after. We played pickup, and I played really well. And then he asked me for a full game film, and I started being recruited by them. And they ended up not needing guards and whatever, and that's what happens. Like you can't get too attached to a scenario, because anything can change, and it's a business at the end of the day.
It's all experience too.
Yeah,
like, you didn't lose anything from going to those.
You definitely didn't lose anything.
You gained.
You play good competition. You build connections. Because also, like, for example, at that Brandeis camp, there was coaches from other schools also working that camp. So it's just like a continuous like cycle of just building connections and putting yourself out there.
Mm-hmm. I think another harsh truth we should touch on here is that it's going to cost, all the things you just mentioned, it's going to cost money.
It can, 100%.
Like at least
100%.
90%. Like you're going to have to invest in your college
But
career.
pick what you think is going to be the most valuable.
That's
so if
true,
you
too.
can't get out and go to recruiting camps, maybe look to invest in a level of NCSA or something like that. Like you got to pick what you want to invest in.
But yeah, it's also it does come down to if you're willing to pay money a lot of the time for this kind of stuff, because the kids who pay more money usually get more exposure. So that might be a conversation you have to have with your parents or your guardian, whoever, and you genuinely might have to ask yourself, am I really willing to do this? Because it might cost my parents and or me a lot of money.
And also, if you're good enough, a lot of circuit teams are very cheap because they're covered by the shoe company that runs the circuit. So, for example, like Northern Kings, like who plays in UAA, like Canada Elite who plays in UAA, like those elite teams don't cost a lot of money, so those kids don't have to pay because it's covered by Under Armour. And for example, like in EYBL, Nike U Play, and I might be the only team in EYBL from Canada, is covered by Nike and the Adidas circuit and all these things. So there are opportunities that you don't have to pay as much money, but you have to seek them. You have to do research as well. So it's a lot about research and a lot about, I mean, you're going to have to sacrifice anything, whether it's money, whether it's time.
Yeah.
So you got to pick what you want to sacrifice, and you have to pick if it's worth it for you. And then next we can kind of just wrap it up with like just building a training routine, because if you want to play college basketball, you have to be good enough.
That's true.
You don't want to come here and be completely out of...
Well, you could get into a bunch of these camps and then just get shit on.
Yeah, like you want to be set yourself up for success. So you want to talk about how to like build a routine, what to incorporate?
I mean, this is where it becomes a very big thing. It gets a lot easier when you have people around you exposing your flaws and making it fairly obvious what you need to work on. But if you're coming from a small area and you don't really know what to do, you kind of just have to try shit. You just have to go out there. And I know Ian, who was on the last podcast, talked about how he would see a move on TikTok, go out and try it, and if it doesn't work, oh well. That's kind of the attitude you have to have, where you just go out there day after day after day, and eventually stuff will start working. But if you don't have people around you who have the answers, that becomes significantly harder. But if you do have people out there who can give you the answers to what you need to work on, you also still need to ask a bunch of questions. You need to become fairly obsessed with the idea of getting better day after day after day and exposing your flaws, which a lot of people don't want to do.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Like Kobe used to talk about that in games where he would go up against a kid and get destroyed because he would only be working on his left-hand layouts, but then 5 years down the line, because that kid was only using what he was good at in the games, and Kobe was working on his flaws, now he's mopping the floor with that kid because he's the same kid and Kobe's actually improved.
Yeah, you just want to seek out people who are just better than you and know more than you, and that's how you get better at the end
And
of the day.
trust me, there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's no egotistical kid out there.
I just want to talk about like just a routine, but a basic like routine. I would say get in the weight room 3 to 5 times a week minimum, like minimum 3, maximum 6. Like definitely get a rest day, but like probably like 3 to 5 if you're lifting full body. Get on court, like work 3 to 5 times a week as well, and then definitely play like 2 to 3 times a week pickup.
No stuff.
With like good quality competitions. Like kind of like my schedule, for example, like right now in the off season, is I would say Mondays I on-court workout, lift, and play pickup. So I work out 3 times. Tuesdays is kind of more light. I lift and I do a light ball handling, some like finishing touch work around the rim, and I do form shots and I shoot free throws. But it's not as heavy on court because I'm usually sore from working out and all the stuff I did on Monday. And then Wednesday is more of another more prominent day of I work out on court and we play pickup, but I don't lift. And then Thursday is kind of like Tuesday, same day as Tuesday, just like lighter on court workout and lift. Friday is like Wednesday. Friday is like Monday where I lift, I work out on court and I play pickup. And then Saturday I get an extra lift in and I get shots up. And Sunday maybe I'll get light shots up, but I'll rest. So I'm probably on court working out 3 to 4 times a week, in the weight room 5 times, and playing pickup 3 times. So I'm doing something. I'm doing 2 to 3 things every day, and you just got to find what works best for you and make a schedule for yourself. And I could definitely be doing more. I'm looking to keep doing more, but you just got to do what you can do and then keep building off of that. And so the last thing is what you talked about before. I just wanted to build off of that is like get in with like people who are better than you. So right now, it's very apparent that my weakness is playing defense, and for example, like last open gym, like I was getting picked on. It's like I was guarding, like set a ball screen, get a switch, and I was getting killed. And I can shoot the ball well, and so when I'm shooting the ball well, like it masks that. If I come in, okay, I give up a bucket here or there, but then I come and hit 6, 7, 8, 9 threes in a pickup in a open gym session of like whatever few games, like that gets masked. But then, for example, yesterday I didn't really get a lot of shots. I didn't get a lot of shots, and when I shot the ball, I wasn't really hitting. But I'm getting scored on. That really like glares the weakness, exposes your flaws, which is necessary because even like I've had a meeting with coach at the end of the season. It's like if I want to get a lot of playing time next year, I gotta just keep doing what I'm doing offensively, of like keep getting shots up, keep being more consistent shooter because that's very valuable. But I also need to be able to guard my yard and play defense and be at least I'm not asked to be like Kawhi Leonard, but I have to be a competent enough defender to whether it's not a drop off to when I come in the court. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not neglecting that aspect. I think, okay, just getting in the weight room. But then yesterday kind of clarified, like I still have a lot of work to do. And so I texted last night the best player on our team, who's an all-conference player as a sophomore, the youngest player on the all-conference team, come in the gym and literally just run at, because I recognize that what I'm doing is I'm backpedaling when I'm playing defense. And I kind of like recognize that after playing it, after just getting killed over and over again on the pick and roll. And so I'm like, okay, so you're going to start dribbling the ball with a live dribble at half court, and I'm going to start at the three-point line, and I'm going to mentally try and not backpedal and get a body on you and make you shift. And I got killed today, but I definitely felt that I was more comfortable by the end of it than I was at the beginning of it. And you just got to keep doing that. I'm not going to become Kawhi Leonard overnight or Marcus Smart, but you definitely have to put yourself in situations to like be uncomfortable in order to grow.
Where you might look stupid.
You might, and like, I'm not going to say like, oh, I love to be uncomfortable, and because nobody likes to be uncomfortable. That's the worst. It's the worst thing in the entire world, being uncomfortable. But you have to want to succeed more than you fear being uncomfortable and you fear failure. Mm-hmm. And if you do that and you consistently do that over time, then you should be in good shape. And that's all I got for today. You got anything else you want to add?
Wraps, bro.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back next time.
Peace.
Dude, there's some gems dropped in that.